against some unbelievable arms. The team I follow is still Baltimore. 6 years there. Do a lot with, when they have alumni stuff. I get brought back a lot, and all the other teams for the most part that I played with were just kind of one and done, and haven't had anything to do with them after that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to come on the show. Once again, this is Gregg Olson, and he was a former pitcher, like I said, he in the Hall of Fame with the Baltimore Orioles. And I've got his rookie card somewhere at home in one of my boxes. So I appreciate you so much, and you have a good rest of your day.
My pleasure. Take care. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. That was the interview with Gregg Olson, which I was really blown away that he even responded. Sometimes you reach out to people and they may or may not want to come on the show, but he said yes. And so excited about that opportunity that I had to interview him. And it was a great interview for sure. All right, so last but not least, we're going to talk fantasy football. I have Jay Lowndes of Sit or Start Fantasy Football. It's an app that I've been talking about for about a year now, and it's a great app. It's definitely something you should go download. It's not very expensive. It's $1.99. You can go download the app on Google Play or iTunes as Sit or Start Fantasy Football. And I had a great opportunity to interview him. He wasn't able to come on the show live, so it is pre-recorded, but it's a great interview. We talked about a lot. We broke down some positions. So I would say get your notebook and pen out because we're getting ready to break down fantasy football, break it down from top to bottom, talk about all the positions, talk about the app, and give you guys all the details about what's going on. So we'll take a break, and then after that, we will get into that interview with Jay of Sit or Start Fantasy Football. Are you looking for an honest car guy? Somebody that's going to shoot it straight, give you the honest answers, and give you the best deal on the car of your dreams? Check out Shawn Nataneti, Internet Sales Manager at Jerry Durant Toyota, Texas. Call or text him at 817-231-3696 or visit his website at GoShawnAuto.com. He'll give you a great deal on the car of your dreams. Even if you're not in Texas, he can still give you a deal on a car. Check him out right now, Shawn Nataneti, GoShawnAuto.com. And we are back in the BS3 Sports Show, and we got a great guest up on the line. Been talking about Sit or Start Fantasy Football for a long time, and we finally got the founder and creator of Sit or Start Fantasy Football, Jay Lowndes. How's it going?
It's going good, man. Thanks for having me on the show, and it's great to finally be here and talk to you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's Sit or Start Fantasy Football is a great app. I use it myself. I'm not just saying this because Jay is on the line, but it's a great tool to have because you want to know, who to sit or start. The name is right there in the pudding of what it's called. But for people that haven't used it before or haven't heard of it before, kind of give me background on how it got started and what it's all about.
Well, it got started, the idea a couple of years ago. We officially launched last season in 2016. And it's weird because I always say we, but it's really just me. But yeah, the idea started with conversations with a friend of mine, Chad, and we are both a part of multiple fantasy leagues in offices, outside, with friends. with more like professionals like that kind of like are in 18 leagues. Like we're just across a bunch of leagues. And one of the things that we consistently kept hearing, whether a person was a fantasy football addict or whether they were a person that is just in an office league, they don't follow football much, anything, is that question. Like, I have these two players, who should I start? And like, there's a lot of people who, you know, they'll just go, all right, you know, this person's projected at this person's projected at that. Or they bounce around, you know, 10 different websites to get various information. And really the idea was to bring it all together into one app, into one place, to give people a way to make easier and better fantasy decisions. Right.
And it's very easy to use. You know, you go to the app, you do player compare, you can compare the quarterbacks, the running backs, whoever it may be, and it gives you a list and a comparison of the two players. To me, it's a great app. It's probably the best app out, I think, for fantasy. Again, I'm not just saying this because Jay's on the line, but I've used it myself and it's worked wonders. So it's been out for a year. What's new to the Sit or Start Fantasy app this year that the listeners can be looking forward to?
So one of the things that we consistently heard from users last season that we got feedback on, and we actually sent out a couple of SurveyMonkey surveys to random users. One thing that we kept hearing was people wanted more insight into daily gaming. So some of the things that we've been building out have really been geared towards that, where we have more top valuations in terms of daily gaming, where we will evaluate the salaries from FanDuel, DraftKings, Fantasy Draft, Yahoo, and take those salaries versus what players are projected to hit scoring goal. And based on the scoring goal and those salaries, we do a valuation. We kind of try to point out to our users who we consider value plays and get a better bang for the buck when building out a team on some of those sites in your daily gaming. That, and we have a whole slew of things that we have lined up for this season. Coming this week or early next week, we're wrapping up testing, is going to be, there's that word, I keep saying we.
You and the imaginary person.
Yeah, I know. I'm just used to, like, you know, as the business, it's we this, we that, but wrapping up testing of push notifications and different levels of notifications that our users are going to be able to get from our app. And this is going to be based on what players they're tracking, which is another feature that we have in the app where you could actually specify players to track and have quicker access to those players and quicker access to projections and stuff. But based on your favorite team and players that you're tracking, we're going to have constant news alerts, status alerts, and team alerts going out to our users.
Yeah, and that's awesome to have, because a lot of times people don't want to have to go somewhere or to click on something to get to this pertinent information regarding your team or your player. So yeah, that's awesome. And also, there's going to be some great prizes this year. Tell the listeners about the prizes that are going to be available for people that download the app.
Yep. So this season, as a push to really get our user base up, and really because last season we felt that for a first season I was really happy with how the app went and how it was received, and the reviews and feedback that we got. This season, going into the season, I am giving what I'm calling my Sit or Start user giveaway. And what that is all users that download, sign up for the app, they are immediately going to be entered into this giveaway. If you use code BS3 right here as a part of my podcast partner, you're going to get entered twice. And during the season, I'm going to be giving away some great prizes, including official NFL gear, shirts, hats, jerseys of your choice. And also the grand prize, I'm calling it, in terms of this giveaway is around mid-season, if we hit our goal or target of like a user base, I'm going to be giving away a pair of NFL tickets to a mid to late season game of a person's choice.
Wow. You guys heard it right. Those prizes are going to be given out. So do exactly like he said right now. Go download Sit or Start Fantasy Football. Use the code BS3 and you will be entered in to win some awesome prizes. And also it's a great app, like we're saying. And the player comparison is so easy that you'll be blown away. And talk more about all the positions that you can compare in that player comparison tool.
So the player compare, we give all the key positions and as well as flex, where we'll be able to pull in any category that would go into a flex, a wide receiver, a running back, or a tight end, a fullback also will get pulled in if you have like really deep leagues and you have fullbacks. Any defense, special teams, kickers, they all can be compared against a similar position player to really make a better decision in your fantasy lineup. And just to touch on kind of how the player compare works, because I do get questions on how it kind of works and why it's sort of different than going to different sites. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, I could do that on, I'm touting a competitor, but Fantasy Pros. And one of the things with Fantasy Pros is it's really based on just what people think, what experts think. And you will see this many experts chose this player and this many experts chose that player. I find that good, but this player compare is more of a stat-by-stat comparison in terms of how they're performing for the season, in terms of what they're projected to perform at for the current week, and also how they've been scoring in fantasy, and also what I consider, and I call their basics. And their basics are how they're trending as a player overall, which I have algorithms that go through and I calculate based on all the stats that are pertinent to a player, how they are trending as a whole in terms of performance, who they're going up against in terms of the ranking of the defense, and their current status. And soon to be added to that is going to be weather conditions and stuff along those lines are going to go along with the game conditions.
Wow. That is good to know. That's a great addition right there, because that does make a difference. Weather conditions, especially for quarterbacks, especially for wide receivers. So, man, that's next level. I have not seen that or heard of that on any app. So, man, thank you. Thank you for putting that into the app very soon. And once again, we're talking to Jay of Sit or Start Fantasy Football. It's the app I've been talking about. I wanted to get him on the show so you guys can hear it from him how great this app is. So, another great tool that this app has is the Sit or Start Draft Board, which is very, very, I think, key for anyone that is going to go into their draft, which could be happening this week for some people, could be happening next week for some people. But I wanted to go through some of the positions here and talk about the top five. And we're going to do it in standard leagues. We've got the QBs. And what's your top five as far as the QBs going into the draft?
So, obviously, the top five quarterbacks, I think, kind of across the board, you're going to have Rodgers, Brady, Breeze up there, like always along the top. You're going to have Russell Wilson up there. But in terms of a player that I think I'm going to be targeting, I'm going to say that I think he's not getting as much love as he should potentially, is Mariota. I really like Mariota this year. I think with the tools around him, he's going to be a fantasy stud this year. And I'd